Excel lesson number 45, fourth grade 45. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we're going to be learning about rounding to the nearest 10 and estimating range for an answer, estimating answers in addition, subtraction, and multiplication word problems using rounding. But before we get started, let me give you a little starter to a joke. How's that sound? Okay, so our joke today is, why did the traffic light turn red? Why did the traffic light turn red? Okay, so you have to stay tuned until later on to find out the answer to that. Sometimes when working with numbers, we're reading right here. This is bonus content, by the way. See down here? Bonus lesson content. This is not on your page. You're just going to watch this and pay attention so you can learn how to do some rounding. We use estimates instead of exact figures. Rounding a number to the nearest 10 is making an estimate. So the 10 closest to 38 would be 40. Here is a number line. Here's the number 38. Here's an even number 10. Here's an even number 10. And if we count by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40. So these are both 10s. And the closest 10 to the number 38, you can see, is 40. The closest 10 to the number 34 is the number 30. It's closer to get to the 30 than it is to get to the 40. Now, when the number's right in the middle, this 35 is 5 away from the 30 and it's 5 away from the 40. Anytime it's right in the middle like that, we always want to round it up to the next highest number. Alrighty, so now we're going to do some rounding to the nearest 10. And your page, I believe, does not have numbers on it. And if you look closely and make sure that the screen's nice and big, we have the numbers given to you right here that you're supposed to fill in on the blanks. So we'll do a couple of them together and then you can go off on your own. The first one here you can see says 26. So you should write a 26 on your paper. Now let's round that to the nearest 10. Well, we've got 10, 20, 30. And 26 is closer to 30 than it is to 20. So write 30 right there. Okay, number 2, you see what it says right there? That says 4. So write a 4 in on your paper. If I'm going too fast for you, just pause the video at any point. And then we're rounding that to the nearest 10. Well, if you have 0 tens, you have the number 0. 1 10 is 10, and then 20, and so on. So 4 is actually closest to 0 tens, not to any tens at all. So I'd put the number 0 down there. Alright, why don't you pause the video and do 3 through 12. The numbers are given to you right here. And so write those numbers in on your paper and then round them to the nearest 10. And these are the numbers that you should have filled in. Let's go over the answers now. Number 3 is 38. The nearest 10 to that is 40. It's closer to 40 than to 30. 96, the closest 10 to that would be 10 tens, or 100. It's closer to 100 than it is to 90, or 9 tens. 45 is right in the middle between 40 and 50, so we're going to round that up to 50. 74 is a little bit closer to 70 than it is to 80. 257 is right between 250 and 260, but it's a little bit closer to 260. So that would be the answer there. Now if you missed that one, you might want to pause the video, go through and correct 8 through 12 before I go on, because you're going to learn a lot more by really trying to do your best on the problems before I show you the answers. 182 rounded to the nearest 10, that's between 180 and 190. It's a little bit closer to 180, right? And 525 is between 520 and 530, or 52 tens and 53 tens. In fact, it's right smack in the middle between 520 and 530. So as we learned earlier, we always round up. It's going to be 530. 104, a little bit closer to 100 than it is 110. So we're going to round that to 100. And then 353 is right in between 350 and 360. So it's a little closer to 350, we round down. 196 is right in between 190 and 200, but 196 is a little closer to 20 tens or 200 than it is to 19 tens or 190. All right, now that we know how to round, we're going to estimate the answers to these problems here. So round the two-digit numbers in each problem to the nearest 10, compute the answers in both problems, then the rounded answer will not be exact. The difference between the two answers will depend on the size of the numbers. And so you are going to see from this point forward a lot of problems where you have to estimate the answer. It's going to say words like about, or the answer is between this and this. Anytime you see that kind of language on a math problem, you know they're looking for an estimate, which means that you round the numbers and then do the math. Here's where a lot of kids go wrong. They do the math and then they round their answer. Well, that doesn't make any sense. If you're going to do the exact problem and then round that answer, why would you round that answer? You already know what the exact answer is. The whole point of estimating or rounding is that it makes a problem simpler because we don't care about the exact answer. So don't ever add the numbers together and then round the answer off to put it in your answer spot. So many kids do this all the time. Don't be one of those kids. Don't do the problem and then round the answer. Okay? Say that in your head, get that totally clear. And so here we go. Number 13. We have this problem of 46 plus 25 plus 11 plus 55. Well, if we want the exact answer, we can add that up. 6 and 5 is 11. 11 and 6 makes 17. Carry the 1. 4 plus 2 plus 1, that's 7. 8 plus 5 is 13. So you have 137. That 7 doesn't look too good. Now, what if we didn't want the exact answer, we just wanted an estimate? We don't take this answer here and round it to 140. That's a no-no. What we do is we round each one of the numbers and then get a whole new answer. So 46, the closest 10 is 50. 25, the closest 10 is 30. 11, the closest 10 is 10. 55, the closest 10 is 60. And so we add this up real easily. All the zeros add to 0, of course. 5 plus 3 is 8, and those two make 7. 8 and 7 is 15. So my estimate is 150. Notice it's not 140. Not rounding a real answer. Never do that. All right, go ahead and pause the video. Try number 14. Turn it back on when you're ready for the solution. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to solve this problem. 2 plus 9 is 11. 11 plus 8 is 19. Carry the 1. That's 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's 129. Now, if I want an estimate, do I just round 129 to 130? No, I'm going to round the numbers. So 42 rounds to 40. 59 rounds to 60. 13 rounds to 10. And 15 rounds to 20. Halfway between, we round that up. So all these zeros, of course, add up to 0. That's 10, 13. Now in this case, my estimate actually did come out to be a rounded version of 129, but that's totally a coincidence there because sometimes that's not going to work. All right, go ahead and pause the video. Do just number 15 for me. All right, you should have done just number 15. And we have a subtraction problem here. That becomes 8. Regroup. And I'm regrouping there to make that 12. 12 minus 6 is 6. 8 minus 2 is 6. So the answer should come out to be, in my estimate, about 66. But don't just round that to 70. 92 rounds to 90. 26 rounds to 30. Right? And when we do 90 minus 30, we get 60. So my estimate is 60, not 70, as if I rounded that 66 to the closest 10. Okay, now for number 16, you don't need to round both of these numbers because 4 is easy to multiply. 26 isn't so easy to multiply, so only round the 26 when you do your estimate. This is the actual problem over here, and this is the estimate each time. Keep that in mind. Okay, so pause the video, do 16, then turn it back on. So 6 times 4, you should have already done this, 24. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Okay, then we round 26 to the closest 10, which is 30. 30 times 4, 0 times 4 is 0. 3 times 4 is 12. My estimate is 120. How will the rounded answer compare to the exact answer if all four numbers are rounded up or rounded down as compared to when there is a mixture, some rounded, some not? Make up examples of both types and compare your results. What did you discover? Okay, let's go ahead and try that. Well, let's do like, I'll do it up here on the top. What if we had like 76 and 68 and 49? Okay, and then we rounded that. So this one rounds to 80, that one rounds to 70, that one rounds to 50. Okay, the real answer, 14 plus 9, is 23. Carry the 2, 13, 14, 15, 19, 193. And then here you have 0. 8 plus 7 is 15. 200, right? 200, okay? And then let's do one where it's all rounded down. So let's do like 73, and then let's do 62, and then like 44, okay? So what's going to happen with this one? Well, 3 plus 2 is 5 plus 4 is 9, and 13 plus 4 is 17, 179. Let's round these. 70, 60, 40. That's 170. Notice here that when I'm rounding them all up, my estimate is bigger than the real answer. When I'm rounding them all down, my estimate is smaller than the real answer. Of course, that's the way it's going to come out. And if you have a mixture of numbers, like down in this one, the estimate's usually going to come out really a lot closer to your real answer. All right, and here's some word problems where we're doing some rounding. Let's go ahead and do these first couple together. Clay paid 39 cents for soap, 32 cents for a sponge, and 61 cents for paper towels. Estimate, see, look at estimate how much money he spent. So what you're going to do is the actual numbers are 39, 32, and 61. We don't really care about this answer in the blank here because it says to estimate the answer. A lot of kids find the exact right answer on these. Not supposed to do that. 39 rounds to 40, 32 rounds to 30, and 61 rounds to 60. When you add that up, of course you get 130, and so I'm going to say $1.30, right? It's money. So that's 130 cents or $1.30. All right, go ahead and pause the video, try number 18 by yourself, and then turn it back on. Okay, so we've got all these miles, and we want to estimate how far they drove. 73 rounded to 70, 44 round to 40, 51 round to 50, and then you get 11 plus 5, 16, 160 miles. Don't forget your label on there. And notice that I'm not finding the actual answer, just finding my estimate because that's what it tells you to do. All right, here's another type of problem. Kids always mess up on their show work on this type of problem. They want an answer that's between two numbers. You see that? Between these two, between these two, between these two. When it shows you that kind of a problem, you always want to estimate. So it says Mark drives 52 miles a day for work. The best estimate for how far he drives over 5 days, well, you're going to do 50 times 5 when you do that one. Write that down, and that's 0, 250, right? 250 goes right in between 225 and 275. So you pick that 5 to go in your check answer. I don't want to see anybody doing 52 times 5 on these kinds of problems because that gives you an exact answer. We don't want an exact answer. And this shows that you don't really understand what you're doing. All right, so here are the last two problems. Pause the video, show your work, do these, and then turn it back on for the solutions. So it says Mandy planted 37 bushes on Monday, 42 on Tuesday, and 51 on Wednesday. We want the best estimate. We want an approximate answer. So instead of writing 37, I'm going to write 40. 42 becomes 40 also, and 51 becomes 50. When I add those together, I get 130. 130 is between 120 and 150, right? And so the answer should be 4 that goes in your check answer. That's what the 130 is. Now, if you miss that one, why don't you pause the video, see if you can fix your answer for 21 before we go on. Wesley rode the bus 53 times in April, 42 times in May, and the rest of the time he walked. The best estimate for how many times he rode the bus in April and May. Ooh, see, they gave you some extra information. We don't need that. So all you have to do is round 53 to 50, 42 to 40, add those together, which is 90, and 90 comes between 85 and 100, so you circle the 4. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Oh, you got to have the answer to your riddle. Why did the traffic light turn red? Well, you'd turn red too if you had to change in the middle of an intersection.